Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decipher the hidden stories in corporate filings, and today we have a bit of a twist. This is an amended report, meaning they are going back to add more details after an initial announcement. Think of it like a second draft, but for official company news. So what are we digging into today? Well, it seems like CCC Intelligent Solutions Holdings Incorporated is adjusting the narrative around a key executive's departure. They initially announced that their Senior Vice President and Chief Strategy Officer, Mark Fredman, was leaving, and now they're providing the finer print on exactly how that exit will play out. It is not a clean break, folks, it is more of a strategic phase transition, and we're going to break down what that means for the company. This is where the real story starts to unfold. The company and Mr. Fredman have hammered out a separation agreement a bit after his initial intention to resign was announced. This document is key because it lays out the terms of his exit, and what is interesting here is that instead of just walking away, Mr. Fredman will be shifting gears from a full-time executive role to a part-time strategic advisor for a significant period. So, this is a sudden goodbye. His role as a full-time Senior Vice President and Chief Strategy Officer is wrapping up, but he is not disappearing. From the 30th of September of 2025, which they call the transition date, I'll be working only 1/10 of his previous capacity. This advisory role is set to last all the way until the 30th of June of 2026. That is a good chunk of time, almost a full year. As a strategic advisor, I'll still be reporting to the Chief Executive Officer and helping with any transition needs. During this transition period, he won't be getting a salary or be part of the regular employee benefits, but he will have his business expenses covered, which is pretty standard. Crucially, he will still be eligible for equity awards under their existing stock incentive plan. Now, let's talk about the financial incentives for this transition. Mr. Fredman will be getting his 2025 annual cash bonus, provided he stayed with the company through the end of the fiscal year. That bonus will be paid out when other employees get theirs, but definitely before the 15th of March of 2026. More importantly, there are some significant equity adjustments. All of his outstanding stock options, whether vested or not, will continue to vest according to their original terms, even with this change in his status. And some 17,723 restricted stock units, or RECS, that were granted in March 2022, will actually speed up their vesting and become fully available just 2 weeks after his transition date. Those will then be paid out within 30 days. This is a pretty sweet deal for Mr. Fredman, allowing him to cash in on a good chunk of his equity. However, it is not all acceleration and windfalls. There are also some RSUs that will be forfeited, specifically about 63,665 time. Based RSUs, anything besides what was already mentioned, will be lost on his transition date. This suggests a targeted approach to equity awards, perhaps rewarding specific types of grants or performance more than others. Of course, all these generous payments and benefits are conditional on Mr. Fredman signing a release, basically agreeing not to sue the company, and continuing to abide by things like non-compete clauses or confidentiality agreements he signed when he was a full-time executive. This is standard practice to protect the company as an executive departs. And finally, as is standard in these filings, they've included the actual separation agreement as an exhibit. This is the document that legally binds both the company and Mr. Fredman to the terms we've just discussed. Think of it as the official blueprint of his exit. Looking at CCC Intelligent Solutions Holdings Incorporated situation with Mark Fredman's transition, it definitely paints an interesting picture. On one hand, the company is showing flexibility and aiming for a smooth handover, keeping a key strategic mind on board in an advisory capacity. This could be a smart move to retain expertise and ensure continuity, especially in a strategy role where institutional knowledge is vital. The accelerated vesting of certain RSCs seems like a way to provide Mr. Fredman with a financial cushion and incentive to remain cooperative during this extended transition. However, the forfeiture of a significant number of other RSEs does raise an eyebrow. It indicates that not all of his equity was deemed equally valuable for retention or reward in this new structure. It might be a signal that some of those unvested grants were tied to performance metrics that he likely won't be able to meet in his reduced advisory role, or perhaps they were grants that the company is looking to reallocate or simply move on from. The extended transition period itself, lasting almost a full year in a part-time capacity, speaks volumes. It suggests that the company may not have a clear successor ready to step into the Chief Strategy Officer role immediately, or they feel Mr. Fredman's insights are so critical that they are willing to structure a long, drawn-out exit to capture them. From a shareholder's perspective, while it is good to have experienced minds still contributing, a prolonged partial departure can also signal a potential void or uncertainty at the top leadership level. It is important to watch how the company navigates this period and whether they are actively grooming a permanent replacement or if this advisory role is a placeholder. The fact that this is an amended filing, adding these details after the initial announcement might suggest some initial eagerness to report Mr. Fredman's departure without having all the complex exit terms finalized. Overall, CCC Intelligent Solutions seems to be handling a key executive transition with a blend of strategic foresight and financial incentives, but the details suggest a more nuanced and perhaps complex parting than a simple resignation. Alright, that is our breakdown of CCC Intelligent Solutions Holdings Incorporated's latest filing. What is your take on these transition details and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments if this analysis was valuable. Hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description for more community discussions. Thanks for watching, see you next time.